Welcome to Path to Anandam Gita series, Freedom from Pains and Miseries to Happy, Healthy and Peaceful Life, based upon 108 mantras to awaken your soul. And Srimad Bhagavad Gita, my question and God's answers. Today's series number 82. How to know your Svabhava, your nature, your qualities, and your gunas. I'm Satya Kalra, the founder of Path to Anandam and your host for the session. And thank you very much to Swami Hariharji Maharaj for bringing us together this morning and blessing us for this session. And with his guidance, whatever you see on this page, all the #1 bestsellers on Amazon.com or giving the sessions and being a happiness coach is all his blessings and his guidance. The content of today's session are based on chapter 14, mainly the verse 11, 12, and 13. And of course, there will be other verses will be used for background. So we did discuss previously, but we will summarize it again. What are our gunas and their types? How to identify them? How to change them? And what are the benefits by doing it, by knowing our own qualities and svabhavas? And how to practice it? And what is the homework? And my sankalpa, that I know myself, I know my svabhava, I know my aptitude, my habits. So, as usual, we start our session with our prayers. So let's start our session with prayers. Just like Arjuna, he prayed to Lord Krishna when he was confused, dejected. In other words, when he was in Vishad Yoga, totally confused, and did not want to perform his righteous duties because he thought that he did not want to get into that Kurukshetra, the bloody war. He did not know that Kurukshetra war was not just a bloody war, but it was the Dharma Kshetra, which protected. It was done for protection of society, to establish the righteousness for the society. So he initially said, Na jotasyeti Govindam, I will not perform my duty and I will not get engaged in this war. And when he was totally confused, then finally he surrendered to Lord Krishna and he said, he prayed to him and he says, please guide me. So many times we are confused and we need the guidance from Supreme Power. So we are the Arjuna of today. So let's all pray together to him and seek God's guidance, but very humbly by surrendering. Karpanye dosho pahate svabhava prashyami tvam dharma samudcheta यच्छसेष्याणि निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं चादिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् शिष्यस्तेऽहं चादिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. So Arjuna said, my heart is overpowered by the weakness of pity. I have lost all my composure and my mind is confused about my duty, my dharma. I am requesting you to tell me what is definitely good for me because I'm your disciple. I surrender to you. Please instruct me. And then Lord Krishna took him on a blissful journey, poured that his blessing in the form of Bhagavad Gita and guided him through that infinite knowledge, the supreme knowledge, where Arjuna transformed himself. He got out of all the dejections, all the confusions by listening to it, Lord Krishna's wisdom, Bhagavad Gita, and purified himself and he totally transformed and uplifted himself and reached to his highest conscious level. And then he also experienced that supreme power, that his friend Arjuna was not just a supreme, just a friend, but he was the supreme power. So in Swami Hariharji Maharaj's quotations, according to him, which he gave many quotations, and I put his quotation and summarize it here, where Arjuna and his divine company were together. And you can see this image, how Arjuna is praying to him after seeing him, Lord Krishna's, this Vishal Roop. So according to Hariharji Maharaj, Bhagavad Gita is the step-by-step spiritual instruction manual to live righteously. It teaches us how to know our gunas and transcend from them, limitations, and attain our eternal happiness, peace, and experience the oneness with supreme power, which is called reach to the Param Dham. While living in this material world, not that we die and then we go to heaven and we go beyond. No, but while living in this Triguni Maya and beyond, Swami Hariharji Maharaj. So let's all go together on this blissful journey to Param Dham, experience oneness, ultimate supreme, through knowing our gunas, your Svabhavas, your nature. So Bhagavad Gita, just for refreshing our memory, it has 700 verses, 18 chapters, mainly 3 yogas, Karma Yoga, Action Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Devotion Yoga, and Gyan Yoga, Wisdom Yoga. So out of these 18 chapters, first 6 chapters are for Karma Yoga, other following chapter 6 from 7 to 12 are for the Bhakti Yoga, and then the remaining from 13 to 18 are for Wisdom Yoga, Gyan Yoga, where we are at that level now. But through Lord Krishna's 774 verses, how to perform our action to reach and experience the divinity within us through Karma Yoga. Through Bhakti Yoga, we learn who is Supreme Power. Vasudev Sarvam Iti, God is all. And whatever we do, we offer our services to Him with love and devotion. So every action should be done with love and devotion to establish the righteousness in this universe. And then now we are on the journey of Gyan, Yoga, or true knowledge. And now in chapter 14, this is called Gunas thru Bhgavad Yoga, where Lord Krishna is teaching us the path of knowing the details of three gunas, three aptitudes, three different type of personalities. So union with God, experiencing our self-oneness through the path of transcending these gunas. So going beyond our limitation, which are the gunas are basically the limitations. So how to become gunatit? Gunatit does not mean that we totally get out of our Svabhava, our qualities, but how to become the master of gunas. So we are not slave of gunas. We are not slave of our habits, but how to go beyond through the process of self-purification and self-transformation and become gunatit and then experience who am I and feel the liberation, the freedom from pains and miseries and feel the oneness. And like I am at Param Dham, I am at the Supreme Dham, Supreme Home, my true home, my true self, Chit Ananda. So again, this whole session now is for reprogramming of the mind. We have to reprogram our mind from all the preconceived notions, habits. And again, as this is the chapter 14, so I call it, we are in the 14th grade now. We are still in college, but undergraduate. So going beyond our limitation and just summarizing what are gunas. Gunas are the qualities, aptitudes, svabhavas. Three fundamental qualities exist in everything around us in this nature. These energy forces weave together to form the universe and everything in it, like body, our nature, food, different type of foods. And this is the sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are the mainly three gunas. So sattva is known for light. It gives you the light within. And also the peace, love, compassion, calmness. On the other hand, rajasa, it's an activity-oriented, passion, aggression, and tamasa, which is a darkness, which is a dark, ignorance, dullness, laziness, and totally not knowing what am I doing and what I'm not doing or what should I do. Just totally living in ignorance. And we are the byproduct of gunas. Our body, our life is byproduct of our gunas. So again, summarizing, because Lord Krishna gives the details of our nature, who we are, living in this, on this world, living on this earth, which is called the Triguni Maya, Trigunas. So the detail of these gunas. There are again 3 types here. It is given the more details, which we already discussed in the previous session. That's sattva, rajasa, and tamasa, ignorance, passion, and purity. These 3 qualities born out of this mother nature, this prakriti, this mother nature, and they bind to this soul. Their behavior, soul is within us, the current within us. Current never gets contaminated, never get. When, for example, if you put the green light bulb, it gives you the green light. If you put the red light bulb, it will give you the red color. And when you put very dirty light bulb, which is, you can't see beyond it, you will hardly get any light through it. This is similarly, these are the 3 characteristics which are explained very well here. That sattva is, what is a sattva? People are balanced, they are in harmonious, they are calm, they are peace. They are very creative, very loving, caring, helping. On the other hand, Rajasic people are very selfish. Sattvic people are very selfless. They try to create the good environment for everybody, including themselves. In other words, they want to live in peace and they create the peace for others. They try their best. On the Rajasic people, we are very selfish. They want everything for themselves. They are very greedy, very active, and very passionate what they do. They have a lot of desires. They get agitated very easily. But this is the personality which is needed in this world as well, because they're very passionate. So they have to do all the activities. Because Sattvic people like to be more calm and they like more peace. Like, you can take a good example of Tibetans, Buddhist people. They are mainly doing their mantras. But Rajasic people, they are active. They are like CEOs. They are like taking care of all the activities around there. Although they are passionate, and then they want the results out of it. So they are focused on the results. Whatever they do, they want the good results. They get irritated if they do not, their desires are not fulfilled, and their goals are not met. So this is it has a lot of good qualities, but also just one has to be very careful about it. And tamasic, where they are lazy, they are just sitting, they are totally ignorant, and they just don't know what they're doing. Like, for example, some of the criminals, some of the, their mind is so upset, or terrorists, they're so brainwashed with the environment, by the people, and they do not know the difference between right and wrong. They just do it because they are just told. So here is how gunas impact our behavior. And there are about 5 verses here, which I already explained, but I'm just going to read it very carefully here. And also, one thing we have to notice here, Lord Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna Ji, is explaining Arjuna so many times. Like, look at, in each verse you will see it. He calls him, "O Arjuna, without sins, O pure soul." Here is the Adna. Here is in the second verse, Konte, he calls him Konte. In third verse, he calls him Bharat. And fourth verse, he calls him here again Bharat. So he is addressing him with his name, with different names, just to emphasize. Like when we call our children or some friends, we try to call them with their names. Do this, or just whatever we tell them, or we kind of have a lot of compassion for them, and we say how much I love you, and we basically call their names when we are talking to. Similarly, he is formed through his compassion. He's doing the same thing and he's saying, oh Arjuna, without sin, pure soul, Sattva being pure is luminous and free from sickness. Yet, in its own way, it binds the soul to the body, Jeev Atma, individual being like us, by creating an attachment to happiness and wisdom. So basically, he is telling us that even though these are the good qualities, Sattva is considered to be selfless and very helping, very caring. It's a very good quality. It's just where one can experience a lot of divinity, the presence of God. However, he says, still the Sattvic people all the time, they want to be happy, calm, and all the time they want to learn more about the supreme power, who they are. So they are quite focused on that and kind of get attached. And if anybody disturbs them through that, they do not like it. They get upset. And we have examples of many rishis who were meditating, and when they were disturbed, not only they got angry, but they start giving the shafts to people. They start cursing them. Similarly, here it says the Rajoguni people, O Arjuna, Rajas is born by intense craving and therefore is the source of desires and attachment. It binds the embodied soul, jiva, attachment to the fruits of action. So they want the results of every goal, every activity they do. On the other hand, Sattvic people leave the things on, they say, Bhagwan ji ki marzi hai. It's a God's will. And on the other hand, the Tamasic people, he says, know that darkness is born out of ignorance and the delusion of all embodied beings. It binds negligence, laziness, excessive sleep. Negligence means they don't know the difference between good and bad. And on the other hand, here the Sattvic, oh Arjuna, Sattva attaches one to the happiness of learning and knowing the spirit. We want to know more about our soul. Rajas stimulate vigorous action and Tamas obscures self-knowledge. So basically he's summarizing it. And it clouds the discrimination, creates negligence and triggers the wrong action because they don't know the difference between good and bad. And I put the example here, terrorists. So it takes us to next level now. Sattva dominates by suppressing rajas. So what is the relationship of this sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic nature? How these gunas impact our behavior? Why sometimes we are good, sometimes bad, and sometimes we are very good. So sometimes we are sattvic, sometimes we are rajasic, sometimes tamasic. So what can we do? And here it says that how sattva is dominant, because sattvic people put a lot of effort to control, or basically here it says dominate. The sattvic nature dominates on the rajasic nature. So in other words, they don't allow their too much passion or too much worldly things. Their focus is morely on the sattvic thing. So they kind of, and then of course, they pay a lot of attention that the tamasic nature, ignorance does not take over. The rajasic nature does not take over. Because most of the time we are rajasic, we live rajasic, our nature is rajasic, and with practices, we become sattvic by nature. But some people are born with the different programming because based on their previous karma, many lifetimes, they have accumulated their habits and behaviors. But at the same time, In order to practice sattvic, we have to control our rajasic nature, passionate nature, our greeds, our desires. And of course, we have to live in awareness and not be overtaken by our ignorance. And we should not be lazy. That comes over and over and over in Bhagavad Gita. So sattvic nature is higher than rajasic nature, and rajasic nature is higher than tamasic nature. And again, in next verse, this is a beautiful one. It's now, these are the qualities and signs of gunas. Again, summarizing it. And here is very first one, 11 verse. Sarva dwareshu dehe asmin prakasha upajayate jnanam. Yada tada vidyayat vividyam sattvam ityat. And then, in other words, when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge, who am I? Know it to be manifestation of the mode of goodness. We are on sattvic nature, behaving very gently with others. We speak good, we talk, we think good, we see good, we do good, we go to good places. Then this is then at that time it should be known that when the mode of, so that is dominated by sattvic nature. But when the mode of passion, the rajasic nature predominates, O Arjuna, the symptoms of greed, exertion for the worldly gains, restlessness, and craving develops. And then again he says, Oh Arjuna, see how many times Bhagwan Krishna, Bhagwan Ji is calling Arjuna's name just to call him, get his attention by calling his name. Pay attention. This is such an important chapter. We should learn every single word of it. But in summary, it's very simple. We are made with gunas. We have to go beyond these gunas qualities, and we should not let our tamasic nature and our rajasic nature take over. We should be practicing more sattvic behavior, and beyond sattvic behavior, we develop divine qualities, and that takes us beyond all these gunas. So that's where he's saying, oh Arjuna, nescience, inertia, negligence, and delusion, these are the dominant sign of the modes of ignorance. So basically, goodness to godliness, this is a path, tamasic to rajasic to sattvic, which is a goodness. And then from goodness is the key, because from goodness, we develop divine qualities, we become more divine, and then we are one with supreme power. This is called unity or yoga. But here, one thing we have to pay attention. Look at this. I'm going to read this again. Sarvadwareshu. Deno asmin prakash upajayate jnanam. What he's saying, when all the gates of the body, which I put it here, what he says, these 9 gates of the body, basically 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, mouth, and 2 ears. These are the 7. And then 2 of our genital organs. So basically, these are the 9 gates he's talking about. They are all illuminated with that wisdom. And when that wisdom comes, then we become more sattvic. Our aura changes. And if you can relate to it, and we can all relate to it, that when we are calm, and if you look at yourself or other people, when are very calm, their face shines. they're shining, they're calm. And we also experience that when we are with certain people, certain saints, all of a sudden we get the goosebumps and we start smiling, and because they are radiating that light and we are the recipient of it. And on other hands, some of the people were so, when you are close to them and you feel very disturbed. And if somebody is very angry, you want to run away from that place because their aura is, their vibrations are very negative. And if you look at the people, their faces, or even if we just, when we are upset, if we look at our face in the mirror, how do we look? And how do we look when we are calm? Very beautiful, right? And when we are angry, upset, then we look so ugly, right? And this is a representation of our aura, our light. We radiate the light when we are calm. So how can we practice? And again, I just put this slide over there, that goodness to godliness, by practicing goodness. Again, thinking good, seeing good, hearing good, speaking good, eating good, doing good. That's what it means. Practicing goodness will help to reprogram a preconditioned mind. Even though we might have a preconceived notions, but when we start practicing this, our habits change, our old habits change, and that leads to self-transformation. And we are calm, which is equanimity, which is called sthit pragya. So we are very sthir. And then we experience eternal happiness, peace, Ananda, Chit Ananda. So godliness is the key. So godliness leads to, goodness leads to godliness, and then godliness leads to unity with supreme power. So goodness to godliness and godliness to unity with God. So basically it is the programming of the mind. And here I put it here. See how mind shifts. So in the center, and then it goes on the right and left, sometimes tamasic, sometimes rajasic, but centralized. Mind is centralized, means is calm, is sthir. So again, here comes the assessment guide. How to distinguish and recognize individual behavior based upon their gunas and characteristics. But I always put it here that know your aptitude and do your karma accordingly, successfully. Then you feel eternal happiness. So bottom line here is that we have to live in awareness, know when our tamasic nature takes over, when our rajasic nature takes over. All this is listed. And this actually, this list has been taken from my book, My Question and God's Answers. And it is so well explained there what is tamasic, what is rajasic, what is sattvic, and which verses are pertaining to. So we just have to assess ourselves and try to not get into this tamasic nature, but into the rajasic. And because living in this world, we do have rajasic nature, but we do have a tamasic. As I said in the beginning, we are byproduct of these triguni maya, tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic behavior. So when we sleep, we need to have tamasic. The sleepiness comes in the tamasic nature. We have to sleep. Otherwise, we cannot survive. We'll get sick. But we have to be aware of it. We have to have a balance. How much do we sleep? And of course, with different age, number of hours change. Also, for living in this world, we must need to have a rising nature too. We need to do our work. We cannot just sit and just be calm and just doing the meditation all the time and we in this world, living in this world, we have to be very discreet. We have to get angry sometime, not hurting ourselves, but we have to assert ourselves, and that comes in the rising nature. But it has to be assertiveness, which also a part of sattvic nature, but not aggressive. So this is such a fine line, but such a beautiful practice. Once you go on this path, you watch yourself, enjoy every of your habit, and then say, okay, I don't want to eat this kind of food anymore. I just want to eat this kind of sattvic food. So in following chapters, we will learn about what is tamasic, rajasic, sattvic, because Lord Krishna has done such a good job from chapter 14 and then 16, 17, part of the 18 up to verse 41, all describes about tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. So we are in a beautiful journey, this blissful journey to learn about this tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. And of course, what are the benefits? I just want to summarize it because this is how Lord Krishna motivates Arjuna. So I'm just trying to do the same thing. And Guruji used to motivate us also. And why I put his picture, because he was initially he was like us, like a Jivatma, individual being. Then by doing the good action, preaching Bhagavad Gita, teaching, guiding, he became a Dharmatma and then Mahatma. And then finally, when he left his body, his soul got into oneness. He became Paramatma with God. He merged with God. He reached to the Paramdham. And so this is where basically it says, here again, it's a different way of description, that what is tamasic? Tamasic takes us to bondage. Rajasic takes us to bondage, this birth and death over and over. Due to all these behaviors, our tamasic and rajasic nature. And with our controlling our senses, with love and devotion, we gradually uplift ourselves from tamasic to rajasic to sattvic, and finally to gunatit. So here you can see it, how the vishad or the tamasic nature takes over, and then when and here Guruji used to say, Raisik means I-ness and myness, means selfishness, me, mine. But by practicing it, doing our sadhana, little by little, this minimizes it, and see later on the whole body is illuminated. And this verse today is the 9 gates of the body illuminates with the light. And this is where it shows here the darkness out, external environment does not, or the things do not impact us. And we are totally merged with supreme power. So here is the time to just summarize it, how to practice, how to go beyond our gunas, how to attain our liberation, oneness, paramdham, how to know our svabhavas, how we can transform our habits, aptitude. And here is the answer is Sakshi. Witness yourself. How am I behaving? How am I speaking? And how am I behaving? How am I speaking? And focus on rising ourselves from tamasic to rajasic to sattvic. And of course, go beyond birth and death here and experience the ultimate happiness of Chit Ananda. So in summary, we practice in the morning, starting with previous sessions and Bhakti Yoga, well, Vasudev Sarvamiti, God is all, everything is His play, whole universe is created by him, which we have learned in previous sessions. And we have to align ourselves with the divinity, start our day on a positive note, start with reading Bhagavad Gita or whatever Ramayana or Guru Granth Sahib, or whatever resonates with you, or 108 mantras, or Om mantra 3 times, whatever resonates. As I said, read one message per day. Commit yourself that I'm going to focus on transforming this particular behavior of mine. And by little practicing our everyday exercises, yogas, pranayam, meditation, then we are more calm. We are taking care of our body, mind, and soul, nurturing all 3 parts of us, and then contemplating and practicing one thing at a time. And then we meditate again in the evening. We meditate again, evaluate ourselves, and if we have certain days might be good, certain days might not be good, but does not mean we have to pound ourselves. We have to just sit and pray to God for giving us the wisdom not to repeat that habit, not to repeat that behavior, and ask for his blessings and do our best. And again, in summary, Adat Buri Sudhar Lo, Ho Gaya Bhajan. This whole chapter 13 to 18 is transforming ourselves, qualifying ourselves to reach Param Dham. And that's where Lord Krishna is reminding Arjuna, oh Arjuna, oh Dhananjay, all that he's calling him with different names here, oh Bharat, oh, because just to motivate him. So we continue to do our action and then leave it up to God. Sarva dharman paritajam. Mamekam sharanam tvam. Sarva papebhyo. Mokshashyami mashucha. Each phrase, sarva dharma paritajam. Just leave everything to me. Mamekam sharanam braj. Come to me. Aham tvam sarpapebhyo. I will take care of all of your misdeeds. Mokshashyami mashucha. Don't worry about it. I will liberate you from all the pains and miseries and help you to experience who you are, Chit Ananda, and experience eternal happiness, peace, Anandam. So the time for homework. Be aware and ask myself, yourself inquiring, do I have a goal of supreme goal of self-realization, oneness, reaching to Paramdham? Do I live in awareness and observe my behavior? Do I know my Svabhava qualities? Do I watch my thoughts, speech, and action? And here is again the guidelines. And here is the 3 gunas. Am I watching my gunas here? So live in the mindfulness and observe ourselves being Sakshi. So continuously here, as Swami Vivekananda ji said, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. So once you practice to transcend witness and oneness, you become virtuous and divine. And we continue on that journey. So our sankalpa is rise above. I am on my blissful journey. So sankalpa, our sankalpa here is sankalp prabhavan. With the taking this sankalpa, the impact of the sankalpa is little by little, we go beyond the worldly desires. And shanai uppar mein, gradually, little by little, our mind is more stable. We just focus on our goal. Atma sanshay, mana kratva, we are just focusing on our goal and not kinchit apichinte. We are not thinking anything else. So once we do that, little by little, putting this seed grows into tree and gives the fruits, and we ultimately feel happy, healthy, and peaceful. Chit Ananda. But have a patience. This is not an overnight kind of thing. You cannot just turn on the switch on and off kind of thing. This is like here you can see Kachua right here, the turtle, how little by little, how he is going one step at a time. So we are like that. We are not like a khargosh, rabbit jump. We are like a little turtle here. So thank you very much for joining how to change your habits, aptitude, gunas, and reach to path to Anandam liberation. So thank you very much for joining.